I have hit it. Here we go, lives. Going live on the YouTubes. There we go.
Going live on the YouTubes. Stuart Foley of Trekyards and Fleetyards and Dockyards and Transforming Yards and Lost in Yards.
Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes.
Baker
yards.
Street Yards and Babylon Yards and Wars Yards. Imperial Dockyard and Porn Yards.
Yes.
As in Porn Far. What? What do you think I said, dirty bastards? Wait, same. It's still the same thing. What was I saying?
Battle of the Planets Yards. Battle of the Planets Yards. All right, yeah. We're back, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, that was just more of a low key
Time for a Fleetyards with all cars, but that's okay. Nobody notices.
Yes. Don't think we had a. Yeah, we didn't get another custom styles we made, but that's okay. Tim got another job, so he ain't been doing L cars for a while. But
that's
yes, okay. You sprung this on me, Stuart. Not in a bad way or anything. Just like, we're doing this one. I'm like, oh. Well, there we go.
That would be a good idea. Be a fun idea. May 4th, so may the 4th be with you.
Yes,
guys.
And also with you and your track guardians out there.
Yes. So so we're doing top 10 Star Wars vehicles today.
And it is so obvious, but we haven't done it yet. Actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was like, that'd be a brilliant idea. Wait, have we done that? No. What? Why not?
I did query to you quite a distinct query of, are we doing ships or vehicles or ground vehicles? Because they're all very distinct. You're like, oh no, all vehicles. And I was like, oh, right.
I just figured it would make our list a lot different, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So
I don't think
I'm sure I'll miss some. I'm sure I'll miss some
God.
out on this, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
But oh well.
And I'll say it wasn't necessarily a hard list, but what I found in doing my list is that I found a lot of images, whatever. I scrolled, and I found that I like a lot of ships, but very few I could say being, oh, I really love that ship. So while there was lots I like, I couldn't in good conscience put them in my top list. So I found it kind of hard to find or I just found 11 of oh no, those I do think are top tier for me. Because if it's going to be a top 10, it should be a top 10, not a 10 you enjoy randomly. So I just realized how normal most Star Wars designs are to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, how did you find sort of going through?
I was looking for trying to find obscure ones, and I couldn't think of it. I couldn't find any. So I've got
they're obscure for a reason, Stuart.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people that people are aware of, obviously. And no real extended universe or anything like that. These are all canon ships, including the Mandalorian and stuff as well as in there. So, so there's quite a wide variety, and I had to reshuffle my list while I was making it because I was like, oh, that one should be a number 4. No, wait a minute. No, this one's a little bit better. So I really actually refined this list down quite a bit to what it was. So, yeah. And I do have one honorable mention. I only had one extra one.
Yeah, me too.
So,
no, that's interesting. I mean, did you find in a similar way that so many ships you're just like, that's fine?
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's different versions of some ships as well, which, and there was some I was thinking, I'm going to put this on the list, and then I'm like, wait a minute, there's so many other better ones that one's going to get pushed aside.
Yep.
So actually, I guess I had 2 honorable mentions, but I deleted from the list. But
so it was an interesting thing. One of the fun / weird / cool highlights of the Star Wars universe is that they have genuinely talented designers working on the teams, and they stick to their own visual canon, even if their visual canon jumps around a bit. As in, they jumped 30 years earlier and have to make a proto Walker, proto TIE fighter that fits into a new design but still has a lineage, and so you end up having so many. Well, this links to this, links to this, because they always have to link to something else. So it's kind of like, well, there's less variations. There's more themes. You've got the TIE fighter style, pre and post. The X-Wing style, pre and post. So actually, there's a lot less designs than you think.
Yeah,
it's more just about the one. But and obviously, unfortunately, the original movies, they invented them all, and they were the core designs, whereas all the other ones were just spin-offs from them. So it was an interesting process for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thinking man's top 10.
And it should be an interesting discussion because I don't know what's on
Yes.
your list, and
No.
you know, I'm sure we'll have ones that don't match up. So it'll
I
be
hope so.
interesting.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Unless it's embarrassing they all match up, because it has happened before. We're like, oh, they'll all be
Yeah.
different. Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah. Well, 49 people here, 31 likes. Hit that like button, guys. We can hit 50, I'm sure. And we got some super chats off the top, so let's get into those. Ozzy Maderos, $20. Thank you so much, Ozzy. All hail Imperial Commander and Imperial Captain Foley. May the 4th be with you.
Long live
Always
the Empire.
Black.
Oh, wait. Wrong Empire. Oh, no!
Yeah. Always Galactic Empire Leader Skeleton Hands.
Mm.
Give the order 666. Ooh, let loose the pugs. That sounds like an awful order.
Yeah.
Sergeant Montgomery, $5. She's fast enough for you, old man. I can't do Christopher Walken, but Christopher Walken auditions for Saturday Night Live. May the fourth be with you. Sean Corpier, $5. I love the U-Wing out of Rogue One, Starfighter and Gunship mix. And Michael T. High Desert Comics. I'm going to read the first one here. He says...
Cool name.
Trekyards, we'll be honored to face you this evening on Jeopardity, Captain. That being said, super chat incoming. And then a super chat is $2 for Kleenex to dry your tears later. I'm in round 3 of a Star Wars Jeopardy trivia challenge tonight, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my round, I think. And yesterday I was on the Junkman's Jeopardy Star Wars, and I won. I was the only Star Trek guy on the panel, and I beat everybody.
He's not called a captain for no reason.
That's true. It's very true.
It is of experience.
So yeah, Michael T, we'll see you later, and should save that.
Well, it does sound like
that money for your tears.
It does sound like fighting words, though, Stuart. Let's be fair.
It does. Challenge accepted. Sean Carpier, $5.
Sean!
I forgot the Nabooian Starfighter. Nabooian?
It's just Naboo Starfighter, but that's, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And Mark Lawrence is here with $5. Listening in, busy sorting about $2 million in iPads and Chromebooks. Jesus. That's a lot of iPads and Chromebooks. Good to see you, Mark.
Yeah, wow, okay. I'm going to start sharing while I picture that, like, factory-sized, warehouse size of things. Or just, like, 5 new Apple products.
Oh, yep. So yeah, guys, as you see, super chats are a great way to get your comment read, your voice heard. You probably have your favorite Star Wars designs. We want to hear about them during this live, whether we pick yours or not. Let us know via super chat or just a regular chat what you guys think about our choices, what you would add, what we forgot. Let us know, because that's part of what makes these lives great, is the community and all you guys interacting with each other. So if you can, please do. You can also help us out by hitting that join button and joining the channel, or just simply going over to Patreon/Trekyards and joining us on a monthly basis. And that little monthly support really helps us out, either by joining the channel on YouTube or by joining on Patreon. It's all very good. Don't forget to check the links down below. There is a lot of cool stuff, swag, Trekyards merch, and discount codes and things that you guys can enjoy. Get yourself some Eagle Moss ships. Unfortunately, no Star Wars Eagle Moss ships, but it is what it is. You got Star Trek stuff and Aliens and Stargate soon. So there's going to be a lot of more ships to explore for that. So if you can, please do. And yeah, let's see. We have 42 likes with 65 people here. Another 8 likes to get to 50 would be fantastic. So please hit that like button if you haven't. And if you haven't, ask yourself, why haven't I hit the like button yet? What is it about Trekyards or Fleetyards that I don't enjoy? In which case, why are you here? So you're here for a reason. Please hit that like button. We'd really appreciate it. But yeah, this should be interesting. We don't usually talk about Star Wars stuff, but hopefully the universe doesn't explode as a result of this. Create some tear in the space-time fabric. You know how that works. Things. Hyperspace. I'm just saying words now, but that's okay. I'm a little bit tired today. So anyway, so Samuel hopefully be done sharing in a minute. Let's just stare at him. Oh, there we go. See, he's back. It's amazing. Hey,
So if you
how's it
felt the
going, man?
midichlorians and the force, and you were like, I sense he's going to be done any second now. Any
Yes.
second now. There we go.
It was pretty much like that, actually.
Nice.
Wayne Maker 2.0, 5 pounds. Shrink Voyager down to fighter size. It's a Star Wars ship. The bridge is a cockpit, and the nacelles are S-foils. I mean, I could see it tangling with an A-wing for sure.
I think you
Being
need
just as maneuverable.
You need to do also some more things to it. It's fun. That'd be a funny one to do.
Yeah, that'd be a good project to turn a bunch of Star Wars ships into Federation ships and vice versa. Interesting. Well, 48 likes. 2 more likes, guys. Get to 50. You can do it. I know you can.
Well, I'm interested briefly, while we've got 64 people, just put in the chat right now, which is your favourite Star Wars movie? Sort of don't think about it too hard, just gut reaction, put in the chat. There is no wrong answer, and no one knows who you are except the regulars who know regulars. But everyone else, I was interested to see what sort of your favourite is. And it can be for any reason, like your personal. I know a lot of these ships are going to be what we enjoy for our reasons, and people aren't going to agree with all of them. How could they? It's personal. So just put in your like personal favourite movie, enjoyment factor. Yeah.
And Dan23, is this video just for canon stuff? No, it could have been anything out of any Star Wars media. But
well, the fact about Star Wars is way more like the games are more legitimate feeling a lot of the time than the Star Trek games. So I would easily have gone with any game ship that's from a licensed game.
Yeah,
because it's close enough, etc. etc. Not so much comics, but that's just because they're obscure. I mean, you can just if they're the best, that's quite weird.
Yes. So we got Empire, then Rogue One. Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Empire, Holiday Special.
Yay!
Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, New Hope.
I mean, that's
Empire.
actually more
wow,
mixed than I thought. Cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
None of the new trilogies are prequels. Unless you count Rogue One.
Well, no. The first one, I can't remember the first. Phantom Menace. There you go.
Phantom Menace.
No Phantom Menace there. No. Oh no, we did get James. Phantom Menace. There we go. Anyway. Well, good. Cool. There you go.
Well, it's my turn to go first this time, as far as top 10s go. So are we ready to do this? Oh, wait, no, we're not. Sean Carpe, $5. Rogue One, he says. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Rogue One, actually.
I want to rewatch it in 4K because I always see more. That movie needs to take about 40 minutes off, or give the characters 40 minutes of actual screen time that means something. Like,
it was all the reshoots, though. It was all the reshoots. You can tell it's a stitched together movie.
Once they get going,
I hated seeing stuff in the trailer that was just not in the movie. Because I was waiting.
Pretty great. Yeah. No, once the movie gets going, it's good. It's just it takes a very, very long time to get going, and I lose interest because it's just not interesting until it gets going. But once it gets going, it's great. And certainly the bits they do well, they do extremely well. So there you go. Definitely a weird one though. I enjoyed Solo more, but enjoyment is into a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed Solo quite a bit actually.
Yeah.
But...
So Stuart, your number 10.
My number 10 is going to be the TIE Interceptor. This is one that I fly a lot in squadrons because it's quite maneuverable, and I've always liked the look of it. I like the elongated wings with the cutouts. It looks fast standing still, which I love in a ship of any kind. There is like the advanced TIE and stuff, which has like the other set of wings, like the 3. I'm not really a fan of that. This one is really, really cool looking, and it's really fun to fly. See, I got the advantage of having played squadrons and stuff and being able to fly some of these ships. Get to see the cockpits and interiors, learn how they handle. And this thing is fantastic. Very maneuverable and definitely a heavy hitter.
And I'm sure you feel way more personally connected with a lot of these fighters now that you've lived in them.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them I just hate flying in the game because they're clunky or they, it just something about them. Everyone has an advantage and disadvantage. Obviously, that's part of the fun of the game. But yeah, this one is fantastic and just small, maneuverable. This has shielding as opposed to a regular TIE fighter, which doesn't have any shielding. This has got a little bit of a leg up, and it's more for the advanced TIE fighter pilot. So definitely good in a dogfight.
Yeah, I always found this one an interesting one because obviously the TIE fighter design is so iconic, but this one, how do they make something that's visibly cooler and sleeker, but still the same thing? I thought this was an inspired choice when they made the third. Well, it's barely in the third film. It's remarkable how it's there, you can see it, but it's not like focused on as this is the new big bad TIE fighter. It's just there. It's kind of strange how it's just there.
But it gives it that elite squadron feeling.
Yes.
Like only the elite pilots get these things, and there's not many of them.
Well, exactly. But for me, it feels like. I mean, I've also played the games. I've also, so I know that there's a reason they can't make loads of them. Like, there's actually a reason. They're much more expensive to make, and certainly the better shields, the better whatever. I mean, for me, this is definitely a better design than the TIE Fighter, the classic one. It just feels better, and the fact that it's got hyperspace and all these extra bonus things of cool. It's like it's a better.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It is, and certainly you're right, better than Darth Vader's one. Although that one has way more shielding. It's designed for different things. This is a high-end fighter.
Yes.
That's actually a long-range craft in a fighter. So they're obviously designed for different things, but visually, this one's nicer.
And this one feels like it was made to tangle specifically with the X-wing because of the gun points. There's 4 of them, just like the X-wing, and they're out forward, they're front. They're not like the regular TIE fighter that has 2 underneath the cockpit kind of thing shooting. So a little bit more accurate. You can change up your volleys, how they fire, and I think it was designed to kind of go head to head with the X-wing as far as maneuverability and just firepower. So
I think if I was designing it, I get why. Obviously, I would have made the middle more different because it does feel a little bit lackluster to have such better wings, but clearly just the same middle, even still having the gun points. I would have maybe made the arms thicker, have them be broader. Maybe add a proton torpedo on each one. If I was me, then it would. So I'm just going into more detail, but yeah, it's definitely it is what it is, and it's definitely always been fun to fly. And I remember playing it in Battlefront 2, Battlefield 2,
probably
because we've all played these games. We actually have way more experience with these fighters than like Star Trek ships because we've played loads of games. And this one was one of those things where it didn't hit as hard as it should do, but it was really fast. So we were kind of like annoyed that it wasn't quite as punchy, but it would last longer. But it's like, why aren't you the best at all things? Come on, TIE Advanced! No, TIE Interceptor, do good video. Yeah, cool. Number 10. I like it.
Yes. All right, we got some super chats here. We got Sean Carpier, $5. I had a previous super chat. I did read them all, Sean. You said Rogue One. You said I love the U-Wing out of Rogue One, Starfighter, and Gunship mix, and forgot the Nabooian Starfighter. So I did read them all. So
just with a slight confused air, which I think you gave them, which is fine.
Is it though? Squadron Course, $2. You saw A New Hope Theater's original release. Not I. I would have been too young. I would have been like 4, 5.
And I was not remotely alive.
You weren't even a twinkle in anybody's eye.
I was not. Yes.
But I'm sure there's people in the chat that saw it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, Samuel, your number 10. Let's get both lists started.
My number 10 is the Tantive 5 Korean Corvette. I mean, it's obviously one of the classic ones. It's real weird. It's hard to kind of it's not good looking, but it's also got such a uniqueness. It's a weird one, but it's just so memorable in its own way. And obviously, the scene it was in is the moment. Although we do see it a bit throughout. But when you start to sort of sit down and look at it, you realize actually it's got some big guns, some big engines. I guess that's a window at the front. It's kind of hard to guess the scale of the ship. It's a weird ship, but it just works, and that's kind of annoying because it's not a good looking ship, but it just works.
No, it's a fun one for sure. It's the first thing we see in Star Wars fly across the screen, so it's very memorable for that reason alone. The amount of engines on the back, just the shapes that they used, and the model parts that they used to construct it is a very interesting story. And it is supposed to be a window. There's like a poster inside that you can see through the on the model itself. But yeah, it's armored up, and yes, scale is weird on this one
Super weird.
because you really don't know. Yeah, you really don't know what's going on scale wise, and even well, I guess you got it compared to a Star Destroyer because it pulls it into the bay, so it's not super big, right? So,
But it's hard to correspond to how big that hangar is, really. I couldn't tell you how big the hangar was, except many TIE fighters wide. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, it's small, but TIE fighters,
good point.
but Star Destroyer is huge, so that doesn't really help.
True.
I mean, I know this is probably
That's
one of the
fair.
game assets from like Battlefront or something, but you know, those Greeblies on the side, it looks like a much smaller design based on the Greebly size. They look misproportioned, but obviously it was literally built from Greeblies. But I definitely wish we'd seen more of it. It feels like a missed opportunity of not have done some scenes with it in the later movies as a functional part of the, obviously not the actual Tantive 5, just the class of ship. You had the miniature, or you blew it up, but I'm assuming you had the miniature still. I know it's like it is there, but it's not like would have been nice to see this part of the fleet actually do something. But I mean, in the games, in Empire at War, it was that quick response vehicle, so you could send that in, quickly turn around, and so it was worthless in a fight, but it could serve a purpose. So I lost a lot of them.
Well, actually, in squadrons, they come in quite often to help you out with the Star Destroyer, and you got to protect them. And they do have a lot of firepower. And when you're the Empire and these things are coming after you, you need to be careful because those guns, there's a lot of them. So getting close to this thing is difficult. So
well, it's anti-fighter craft, isn't it? It's a Corvette. It's a
it's small. It's small and made for speed. That's what Corvettes generally are. So
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, there you go. Classic. Like I say, it's not a good looking ship, but it does work. You know.
But it's uniquely Star Wars because of the shapes and the fact that it was the first thing we saw fly across the screen ever.
Well, and also, you know, this was originally meant to be the Millennium Falcon, but with a different cockpit, and that doesn't look as good.
Yes.
This captured the something that didn't. So again, speaks to that final note of yes, eureka. But there you go, number 10.
Yeah. Sean Corpier, another $5. Thank you so much, Sean. It's okay. Ask the commander if the Prometheus was a Star Wars ship. LOL. I'm gonna go back and see if I missed.
There is no Prometheus in Star Wars. There's in Star Trek and Stargate. No.
It's a good name for a ship.
It is.
So.
Your number 9, Stuart.
My number 9 is the Y-wing, but the Y-wing that's not the Y-wing we see in the original trilogy. It's the I don't know if this is still even called the Y-wing. Is it? Like, is this the Y-wing just with like more panels put on it?
Well, it's no. Well, it's the real Y-wing. Okay, so the story is this is the actual Y-wing that they use in the Old Republic, as in the you know Return of like the prequels. This is the prequels Y-wing, which was then grabbed by the rebellion, broken down because they're old. Hence why all the parts are see-through, or you know exposed. So this is what it did look like before it was stripped down to be the rebellion. So this is what it used to look like before they were old and obsolete.
Gotcha. Really like this one. The Y-wings always interest me. They looked very beefy and bulky, and they are. It's one of the. It's the one. Hey, once I got to fly it in squadrons, I understood it better because I didn't know quite what its purpose was. I thought it was like a bomber, which it kind of is. It's an assault ship. But it's the one I choose most often in squadrons to fly.
But not this version,
to be honest.
The original version.
Not this version.
Okay.
No, yeah, the stripped down one. And I like it in both forms, but this one just has an elegance to it. I just really like the way that the lines flow on this. So no, they're heavy hitters, multi-purpose. They cover 360 degrees as far as weapons go, and they can take a pounding. Much more than an X-wing, actually. So, but they're not as maneuverable. So that you get the trade-offs again, and they're just really cool-looking ships. Especially this version, like I said, I really like the refinement on this.
Is it just me, or is this like a Star Trek ship with nacelles?
I mean, it certainly could, yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
would not take much to become
Like
a Star Trek.
yeah, like a ship the size of the Raven or something.
Sure, yeah,
Like a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
bigger than a runabout.
Just the way the nacelles and
Yeah.
lines are, it's like, oh, those are just nacelles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this one's always confused me a little bit. I liked the idea when they showed the original version. I thought that was very clever in the show. It does change the vibe so radically that it's obviously the same ship, but it's obviously the other one is so butchered because they had to make a flyable ship. I think that one has more character than this one, and this one, you're right, has a bulky sleekness. Does that make sense? Like, it's still bulky, but it's kind of sleekly bulky. And having
Yeah,
played,
so they left the. Oh, so great.
no,
Go ahead. I was gonna say, so they left the armor panels off by the rebellion for ease of maintenance.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense.
I mean, just
Plus,
all
it
of it.
lowers the weight as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta do the firing and shooty because they have a lot less fighters than the rebellion. And I remember from playing this in Battlefront, the old ones, that it is a bomber, but the two forward cannons that you see, the actual nose ones, are very, very powerful, very slow, very powerful. But it's not useful. It's very much a front on. Like, if you don't get it, you're not gonna turn and get it again.
Yep.
So you hit them from longer range. You either take it out or don't. You bomb the Star Destroyer, and then you hope someone else helps you out to maneuver around.
Yeah. And in squadrons, you can always switch out all the weapons for like different things, but the
Cool.
one that I use, the most powerful cannon there, you actually have to hold the trigger down, and it like builds up the charge, and then it fires like a Gatling gun.
Oh,
and yes,
wow.
it's directly straight ahead. It's very hard to kind of hit your target, but if you hit, it's got a punch to it. So yeah,
I always remember
absolutely.
leading.
I love that.
This one's a very another game where you have to lead the target, and when you hit them,
Yeah.
I remember getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyed, and I was like, yes. Ugh. Because I was like full on like 180ing constantly to keep up with the. Yes, nice.
And Smedley Do Right says it looks like an early Klingon ship, maybe. Hey, yeah, that could definitely be a Klingon design. It's got like the back body part looks a lot like a D7 kind of build. So
maybe
Klingon fighter.
Maybe. My number 9 is.
Yes.
What is it? I don't know. Ah, yes, the Super Star Destroyer.
Ooh, wow.
Which is a weird choice, I know.
Yeah.
Because this one for me has always stood out because it's cool. I don't know. It's a very sleek shape. I love the weirdness that based on the scale of the ship, that entire middle bit feels like this big city of skyscrapers, surrounded by the normal Star Destroyer, and then you go behind and below, and all this wonderfully brilliant engine detailing, which is itself the size of starships. It's so 3 distinct designs packed into one big giant kill machine, and it comes together. I think it's very, so underused. But that's, and I'll go into what it really means, why. But it's so underused. But I just think it's a really interesting shape, and the way it comes together is really interesting, and just stands out to me in a way that a lot of other ships just don't.
Yeah. This is a really unique design. I have the same feeling about the middle being like a city. Like it's huge. The one thing I've always had an issue with, is the back. It feels unfinished to me. I know it's got like a cool look to it, but it just never felt like a finished design. It's almost like it was always in the process of being under construction. It's very much an arrowhead. You just attach a stick to that and tie some. There you go.
Yeah.
But no, it's really cool, and the fact that it's
Stuart, the Death Star is just a ball. What do you want?
Hey, yeah, I guess. But yeah, we didn't see much of it, unfortunately. I wish we would have seen a little bit more. Did see it crash into the Death Star though, so
its great event was to
cool.
crash.
Yeah. Yay.
And not that I'm specifically driven by the books, but I do remember distinctly listening to the, I think, 30 odd books of the Rogue One Red Squadron collection about Wedge Antilles and Red Squadron and all that stuff. And the Super Star Destroyers in that were heavily developed because they were explicitly said in those books that they were so... Because the Death Star is like the extreme, right? But it's the extreme. These things are the practical extreme that you can produce. But they're so resource intensive that no one chooses to keep them. That after the Empire lost the grand resource of the Empire, some of these were just destroyed, just abandoned, because they took like 50,000... Like, they took so much to run that, yes, they were individually a fleet destroyer, but you had to have a fleet of people just to run it. And it wasn't worth it when you had no maneuverability, etc., etc. And so even after all that, there's a couple of Superstar Destroyers in the books that appear, and you're like, oh no. Because it's like, it's a bragging symbol. It's like, oh no, I've got enough of the Empire together to have an SSD. And that's like, ooh. And there was one story when one is actually docked on the surface of Coruscant. And as a younger man, visualizing reading the book of it taking off from Coruscant. And it's like, holy effing hell. You know, you can imagine the coolness of that. Obviously, it's just a page. So, it's definitely one of those fun things. But to have a ship that is actively a resource, like, it's not worth the resources. But if you can have one, you'll win a battle. Done. Like, you can't beat one, really. But you can't have one either. So I just find it a really interesting concept. So, yeah. I like them.
Yeah. Big and beefy. Well, actually, it's not beefy. It's slick. It's sleek. It's fancy. It doesn't look as big as it is.
No, it doesn't. Well, it's like the Enterprise J. It's like the scale compresses so far down. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Corpier, $5 again. Thank you so much. I love the Blockade Runner Corvette. I've got the Hot Wheels model. Yeah, I've got a small one as well. Sean, another $5. 4 struts like X-wings. It was a joke, guys. Commander loved the Prometheus. Oh, hey, yeah, it does look like the X-wing. We actually talked about that in our video, one of our videos on it.
Although actually Prometheus has 6 struts. Just saying.
Martin Jurgensen puts in 45 krona, I believe.
Which is, Danish, and that is $8. Thank you.
Nice. The SSD has the coolest entry of a ship in Star Wars, casting shadow over regular Star Destroyers set to the Imperial March. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's also, I think this is the absolute line for me when they went big, but it felt at the edge of big. When you get to the later movies, like all the Star Destroyers from Snoke to the small ones, they're so big it's pointless, you know? It's just big for the sake of big. This was like, for me, the biggest you should ever be a ship in the Star Wars universe because it's already too big, and that's the point. Only an empire can build it, not a fleet, not a faction, an empire. You know. So yeah, certainly, yeah.
Cool.
Yes,
Lieutenant. Moving on to my number 8.
Yeah, Martin. Sorry. Number 8.
My number 8 is the Tantive 5.
Hey!
This is a picture of the Tantive 4. Now that I've noticed that. Anyway, whatever. Tantive. We already talked about it. I like the barrel head, like the barrel design of the front. And yeah, you're right. This was the original design for the Millennium Falcon with the barrel turned the other way, and it looks incredibly stupid. Like it would never have worked in my opinion. Not just because this is what we've seen on screen now for years, but I just think turning it the other way just doesn't, especially for a hero ship. Like I'm glad they changed that, but repurposing the model and reconfiguring it to be like this really works. It has a good feel to it. I do like the power that those engines at the back exude. But yeah, again, the scale is weird because those guns are so huge. It's a cool little design. Now we've already kind of talked about it, so yeah. Captain chose a white one. Yes, well, it's like one of the first pictures that came up. I searched Tantive. Did Thrawn command one of these Super Star Destroyers? I don't know.
Yes, although he didn't like commanding them. He saw the non-usefulness of them. He would rather be on a normal Star Destroyer, which is weird, because he liked maneuverability. He was a fleet commander, not a... I mean, I'm not talking about how they use in Rebels, because that's the new Thrawn. I'm talking about the original books Thrawn, how he was for like 20 years.
Okay.
I think he actually abandoned one once. Yeah,
It's interesting. It makes sense. Yeah, if you want to be in the thick of things and actually be strategic, to have a smaller Star Destroyer would be the way to go. So,
yep,
yeah.
Plus, his one was like specially tuned. It was more powerful than you expect, which led to more surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker! I can pew you rather than start Superstar Destroyer where you don't even like attack. All right. Yes. No, I love that. I know that. It's great. A long time ago, I learned this stuff. Muscle memory. Excellent. Yes, good. So yours is so mine was 9, wasn't it? Right. Lovely. Although yours is clear, you can see the window on the inside with the dude even. Nice.
Yeah.
My number 8. 8. Yes. My number 8 is the yes, TIE Defender. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? I think so.
I can't see it yet.
I think it's the TIE Defender. So this is the. It's cool. It's not good looking, but it's again such a simply different design that I think feels extremely logical. A lot of the other TIE fighters are very different variations on a theme. This feels like a logical next step, and I've always quite liked playing them in games for whatever reason. Even though it's very basic, simple kit bash feel, it just kind of comes out as one overall shape. And I've always enjoyed like the way it spins in its appearances, because it can do that. It's a yeah. So yeah, no,
isn't this a TIE Advanced?
No. TIE Advanced is the Vader's.
Well, I thought those TIE Prototype. Anyway, whatever. This one you can fly.
Yeah, TIE Defender.
Cool. Yeah, this one you can fly in squadrons as well.
Well, it didn't used to be canon, then it was made canon, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah. I don't fly it very often because I can't stand the way it looks. I'm just not a fan of the design, unfortunately. It just seems a little bit too silly. And to see it landed, like docked in the hangar when you're choosing your ships, it's like, well, what? It's a weird docking scheme. I don't know. I find that the TIE fighters and the Imperial ships, a lot of them are very impractical as far as landing capabilities go. And then in The Mandalorian, they fixed that with the regular TIE fighter having the fold-up wings.
Yeah.
Like, brilliant.
Yeah.
But the way they hang up in rack bays and launch, this thing... Anyway. I don't have much to say about it except I don't like it. So...
Yeah, I mean, something about it, it's just just kind of works for me. Again, not good looking, but in the Tantive 5, and that's high on the list. Or at least on the list, I mean. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I remember it more. I didn't play much of it at all, but the original X-Wing and TIE Fighter games, because I did get a joystick once, and it was crap and it was old, it didn't work properly, but I played a little bit. And this was what I remember playing, and it was surprisingly powerful. I was like, wow, this thing feels OP, because he can't move for shit, but it can dole out punishment. So it was that weird, like, oh wow, I'm just killing TIE fighters. So I quite liked it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sean throws in another $5. So thank you, Sean. The real Thrawns in the novels. Yeah. I would agree. So
phenomenal character, probably one of the best characters for sure in Star Wars. And so at least he's in Star Wars properly. Yes.
All right. My number 7.
Yes.
Is the Millennium Falcon.
Oh goodness.
I wanted an interesting picture of it. I know this is the one with the rectangular radar dish, which I don't like. I like the round one, but whatever. I like this picture. This is one of those ships that it feels like there was different models of, because sometimes you see this thing that looks bulky and fat, like, and other times it looks really sleek and really, I don't know why that is, if it's a trick of the
different
light
lenses. It's like Discovery. Sometimes it can look really brought in or really long. It's just lenses, camera lenses.
Well, when this thing's like doing its thing, it's an incredible looking ship. I wasn't really a fan of it in Solo with the escape pod that was added, and it was nice seeing it gleaming new and white. even in the interior.
Yeah.
But to know that it had this history and it's been through everything, um, it's a cool little design. I'm not a fan of the cockpit way the hell over here because again, when you go into squadrons and you're flying something like the B-wing, you're here and the rest of your ship is over there. So to fly around or through anything without like clipping that is
Mm,
damn near impossible. And I always thought that even as a kid with this ship,
mm,
because
mm.
you're on the farthest side of one side and you got a whole ship and they're doing this around stuff, like you have to have pretty good feel for your ship, which I mean as a with the Camaro or driving, you know how much car
Yeah.
you have on that side, so you can like squeak through stuff. But still, it just seems a little bit impractical.
Mm.
But such a cool little ship, and I just think it's the hero ship. It's a fantastic looking design. So
But
that's all I have to say.
only number 7, guys. Is that
Only number 7.
controversial? I mean, you tell us,
Could
guys.
be.
Could be.
Could be.
I mean, this ship has the advantage and disadvantage of a ton of screen time, and B, the most detailed miniature. So it obviously has
Yep.
the most big budget feel, has the most vibrance, has the most life because it was given the most treatment, and they built a 3/4 version, so you got to see the outside, you got to see the inside. Like there's no other ship in Star Wars with this much detail, and so obviously it feels a certain realness that is hard to, well, impossible to replicate really, in this context. But yeah,
Plus, they have a full size one at Disneyland.
yeah, wow, love it, love it. And at some point, I'm sure we'll be there and we'll play the on rails cockpit thing and get to say, "Damn, this is a small cockpit."
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it's, I mean, iconically classic, very cool. It is a mishmash for sure, but it's again one of those things where they clearly just shoved stuff on a study model. Like, why the hell are those circle things at the back? Because the guy just put, you know what I mean? There's a illogical logicalness. Like, why is there a ring of light? I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's they shoved
Yeah.
stuff at a thing. But without any
It-
one of them, it wouldn't work as well. It is that absolute combination factor.
It's also like the Galaxy's hot rod. Like it's somebody that took a car and has customized the hell
Yeah.
out of it. Engine sticking out of the hood. Big tires on the back. It's not what it was coming out of the factory,
No.
and that's cool. And that's one of the things, because this was like George Lucas had done American Graffiti, which was about hot rods and street racing and stuff, and then went to Star Wars, and he kind of carried a lot of that over. So the Falcon kind of embodies that,
So
and I
true.
like that because I have the Camaro, which has got modifications and stuff done on it, and I got the dice of the Falcon hanging in my rearview mirror because I love my car, but it's old, doesn't always work properly. You got to hit things to make them work. It's the same creature. So
And it's got a robot
I can
inside
relate.
its personal nav computer.
Oh,
A
don't,
dead,
not
a
just,
dead,
no.
a dead feminist, anti-slavery, whatever robot.
Yeah.
Well, the least
that
good part of
just-
Solo. Thumbs down.
Yeah.
And I've also always loved the ring engine light approach. Such a nice, and they use it on Destiny in Stargate, and it works equally well. But yeah, I mean, a nice design, but it's definitely a weird one. It's another like Tantive 5. It's amazing it works,
Yeah.
but it does work.
Yeah. Sean, $5.
Man.
I got this as a Bluetooth speaker model. Yeah, the Bluetooth speaker is pretty cool.
That's fun.
And Eugene, 1,000 rubles.
Eugene.
May the 4th be with you. Hope to see some Venators and no eclipses.
Oh.
Well, I do not understand the love for the Venator. It is a hideous design. Many people have said we should do them on the show, and I'm like, ugh. But anyway. So yeah, what's your number 7, Samuel?
I think that was your answer, Eugene.
Is it the Venator?
It's 2 Venators side by side. Always better than one, Stuart. It's
Okay.
It's multi-Venator assault mode.
Oh my God.
Splits to 3.
Badoom boom.
My number 7 is the Jedi Starfighter, or basically called Jedi Interceptor. Now, I was sort of on the fence which Jedi fighter to go for, because the first one in Attack of the Clones has a certain cool factor that this one doesn't have because it's the scenes it's in basically, and it has a real long range feel. But I do think this is a cooler design because it really is an extremely sleek, extremely good looking fighter. That one and the other one's more of a ship they travel in. So I'm going to give it to this one because there's more design elements. I like the connection with X-Wings, although the X-Falls have no physical purpose except, I guess, just maneuver. They're there because they're there. But as a design, I mean, it's a phenomenal opening sequence as a CG artist myself. I mean, fuck. Brilliant. And so yeah, it's a very it's the absolute epitome of kind of like the Viper in Battlestar Galactica where we talked about it. It's a cockpit with engines behind it and guns. There's no room for error. This feels extremely vulnerable. Razor thin everything and a cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
But who have you got piloting it? Jedi, who can sense everything. Okay, they're fighting robots, so they can't sense the robots. But in theory, they can sense anything and have an advantage. And special reflexes, so they're the people that can fly them. That's why they're designed for them. And so they are almost supernaturally advanced fighters in how they're piloted. And then obviously they're not actually that powerful, but that's not what they're there for. And I wish we saw them more. I wish we got a more interesting vibe beyond. But I thought, it's a really cool little design that I have enjoyed shooting, although, like I said, the guns are never powerful enough ever in games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are really neat. They get the job done. They feel more in line with TIE fighters, just with the construction of them. The simple cockpit with like wing assembly.
Probably connects more to that actually. If I'm being honest, since it's all the Imperial. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, makes more sense.
Yeah. I've never really been a fan of them. Like I do like the aspect of the Jedi starfighters that have the warp rings or the hyperdrive rings that attach. That's a really neat idea. I don't know if these ones do that specifically.
They are meant to, but we never saw it because they themselves can't hyperspace. They're not that advanced.
Okay. No, they're cool, and they I can see them being super maneuverable, and the whole ship is in front of you. So you don't have to worry about, getting clipped at the back, essentially. If you do, you're dead, I guess. But
also great viewing angles. I mean, better than TIE Fighter, better than X-Wing almost.
Yeah.
Actually there is.
Yeah. One thing I don't like about these fighters, and even the Naboo fighter, is there's no real room for R2 or a droid. I know the droid's there. Where the hell is his body? If you actually look at the design, yeah, exactly. There's nowhere for the body. Even the Naboo fighter, R2 has legs, man. But the way that's curved, it's like, does the dome detach and come up?
But we see him pulled up.
That kind of stuff bugs me, like just the logic of it. And I don't know how to quantify it, so it bugs me a little bit.
I believe there is some game or something where they do show the droid, they just pop off the head, and the head goes on and the body stays at the hangar. Not necessarily for this ship, but there is a concept of that, I believe.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for this sort of thing.
I think I saw one too for the Naboo starfighter where the droid goes up in there and the head comes up like
it's like
the body, but
yeah. I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah,
and in fact,
stretching realism.
Whee! Yeah, I've never been the biggest fan of the warp ring because I don't like warp rings anyway, and it feels like just design the goddamn ship with hyperspace in. Don't as soon as that ring's destroyed, you're lost. You're dead. You're marooned. It's no, don't. So it feels silly to me. We don't even get like a reveal for that. It's not as if Jango Fett blew it up in the second one as a way of stopping him. It was sort of a redundant, cool thing. Although actually, I love the fact that you said TIE Fighter. Yeah, I have thought this before, but you really made me remember. Yeah, I mean, even that front cockpit window, the bottom bit is just a TIE Fighter. So yeah, this obviously does just evolve into a TIE Fighter. So it kind of is, but it's so much sleeker, Yeah.
Are they shielded?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lightly, but they are more. Yeah, they are, but light, but enough. You're just meant to avoid bullets in these. But you're a Jedi. You can.
Yeah. Olivia Julius, $20. Thank you, Olivia.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes, and also with you. I'm going to take away from the Puggy Treat Bowl with this super chat. Did you know Samuel is more than a co-host? He helps to create a short Treks show. Please, if you can help make these films become a reality, check out his Indiegogo.
Ah,
Ooh. Yeah.
yeah.
Check out the Indiegogo, guys. It will break your legs. What?
Yes, and we are going to do a live at some point talking about it. I might even try to have some cast members on from the various different shows, etc. that I've combined with. Hopefully, you guys turn up for that. Obviously, if you guys don't turn up, it's hard to have people know about it. So, hopefully, you guys will be excited because there are some really good stories that we're telling in that. So,
yeah.
And Stuart's in one.
Bum bum bum. Chris Parnell has joined the channel at the rank of Commander. So welcome aboard, Commander. Thank you for being part of the team.
Commander
means a lot, guys. Those memberships for the channel are a huge lifesaver. So if you can and spare a couple bucks a month, by all means, consider looking into it.
Yes,
we'd appreciate it. All right. So I guess I'm going on to my number 6 now. Okay. My number 6 is the Razor Crest.
Ooh.
This originally wasn't even going to be on my list. And I'm like, I was looking at it going, wait a minute. This thing really grew on me. When I first saw it, I thought, what the hell? It's missing something. Like, you expect more wings coming out the other side of the big engines, but it's just, it seems clunky.
Wait, is it McClunky?
Yeah. But it's so small and practical, and you see it used quite efficiently throughout the show until it's gone. And there's not much to it. It's a cargo hold, it's a little sleeping cabinet, a toilet, an armory thing, and then like the cockpit. There's really nothing to it. And the fact you can basically repair it with like
duct tape,
twine, and duct tape.
Sorry, Mon Calamari tape.
It makes sense for what it is. Yeah, and the fact that it's an older pre-Empire ship, so it doesn't have like transponder or whatever the hell it was, the tracking stuff, was interesting as well. And it's a neat design. I really would have liked to see it brand new, sparkling clean, silver with the red, with the yellow paint job, with the stripes, and massive cannons on the front as well. Like, it's a very cool little ship for bounty hunter, and I think it's great.
You say the early version. I mean, don't worry. In 20 years, we'll see Mando. Star Wars a Mando story, and you'll see the original version, how he gets it, and how he gets the helmet, and we'll see this.
Yeah.
I mean, this one really is just the Firefly, and you love the Firefly. Is such a lovable design. It's. I mean, it's clearly that it's just that they were inspired. Wow! Boom! Right there. I mean, obviously, it isn't the Firefly, but it visually is somehow is.
You can see all the tie-ins with the Firefly for sure.
Yeah, but that also works tremendously well as well. It's surprisingly good. For is ostensibly a bit of a naff design in terms of simplicity, but it's exactly what you need. It's like a TIE fighter itself. It's like exactly what it says on the tin, and there's a certain something about it. Yeah.
Don't know if I'd feel safe in it though. It seems it seems like just slapped together. Like the cargo bay thing. Like, there's 2 side doors. There's a back door. It just feels like it could fly apart at any second if it gets hit. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. And I thought we've seen it be destroyed basically, as in like damaged almost beyond repair, or damaged to the point of repair. So many times it does feel certainly thinner than it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Boardman joins the channel at the rank of captain.
Oh.
Welcome, fellow captain.
Captain Boardman. But he's not bored of being here.
No, but he is a member of the board, and he's a man.
Oh. Is there a joke on Matt we can do? Matt, cat, bat, sat.
Oh, no. He's a member of the board, and he's a man. And you go into the boardroom, there's a welcome Matt. Right there.
Hey!
Moving on. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Olivia Julius, $2. Puggy treat for the puggy. Thank you. She appreciates that. Sean again, $5. Isn't that the Firefly? Kidding. LOL.
I'm kidding.
Totally is.
Which is fine.
Sergeant Montgomery, $2. It's the Eagle 5 from Spaceballs. LOL.
Ooh.
I mean, there's a similarity with the engines and stuff, maybe. Sure. But
kind of funny.
Yeah.
Funny.
All right.
Nice. My 6.
What's your number 6?
I don't necessarily remember, so let's see. Oh yes, the Imperial Star Destroyer. The second type. I mean, it's, it is just a pointy thing with balls on top. But the absolute detail of...
I got a pointy thing with balls on the bottom. Does that...
No. It's not how these things work.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's beyond iconic again. It's like a ball cube in that it's simple shape, but the fact that the miniature was given, they knew they were going to get very close to it. So the miniature is expertly detailed. It's lit extremely well. But clean white is a rarity to get that to work all the time. But it has that 2001 feel. It has that very clean, simplistic militaristicness, which lends itself well to miniatures. Where the intricate paint detail can be harder sometimes. So it's very effective. I mean, it is iconic.
The fact, the simple white, like you said, is interesting, but there's so many greeblies on it. No matter what light source hits it, you get like so much detail and dimensionality. Even building the models, it's like you don't have to weather them, really.
Yeah.
You paint them, and just all the little nooks and crannies create that kind of look on their own.
Never thought about that.
So
I love that. Yeah. And then all the little spotlights, which are more impressive in other versions of it, obviously. And not that games tend to let you do this, and scaling was never quite, because clearly a TIE fighter or an X-wing is there is a trench there at the side of the ship. So it was always a bit weird when you're like flying and it's not quite the size of your ship, but it should probably be bigger because of the scale of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be, it's when you occasionally do see things fly in that trench and kind of dogfight, that's always quite fun. It's just hard in games. And obviously, classic moment of A-Wing flying into the shield ball. And it seems so silly, but it's like, I mean, but they're in the shield, so it's fine. Like, why are you bitching? They're in the shields, and they're extraneous to make the shields. But yeah, so, yeah.
And I got to say, going against one of these things in Squadrons is a bitch. You go on the bottom, you go on the top. There's turrets everywhere that you got to take out, and they're all aimed at you. So it's not easy for sure, but it's a cool design for sure.
And it's remarkable a design like this where one is imposing, and you can happily see the copy and paste fleet of these, and you're just as scared and more scared. It works for that. It's like if you saw 10 Constitution classes, it would lose the effect. That doesn't work as a fleet ship. This actually does. So you can see 10, 15, 30, and we did see many in other movies. It's actually more impressive the more you see them, etc. So yeah, iconic. It can't not be on your list. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. Just super iconic. Your number 5, Stuart.
My number 5 is the Star Destroyer.
I'm
just kidding. It's the X-Wing.
Oh my God, Stuart! Controversial again.
And it is the original trilogy X-Wing. Not a fan of Poe Dameron's, even though that's based more on the Macquarie artwork. Yeah. With when closed, it got the round, and split open, it got the split. I don't like that. I like the original look of these, the two or the 4 engines. These are just, and we did a Fleetyards episode on this thing. Learned quite a bit about it, and it's like this is like the jet fighter of Star Wars. This thing is so cool. The the S-foil positions, even the firing, like you do 1, 2, 3, 4. You can fire them all at the same time. 2 and 2, and you got all the different settings for that. Hyperdrive model. It's got a hyperdrive thing built in. It's got the proton missiles. It's just a all-around good little fighter, and it's small. It's simple. There's not much to worry about, and it can land. It's not as awkward as a TIE fighter for that. It just has a lot more functionality, I think, and I just really love the X-Wing. It is so cool.
Well, you say that, Stuart, but it's only your number. So you say you really love it, but it's only 5. I mean, again, could be a controversial opinion, Stuart. This is kind of the one you think of. If you say Star Wars ship, this is the one people think of.
Yeah.
And it's definitely... Yeah, I love you bring up the Poe Dameron one. in theory, that one should look sexier because of the organicness of how it comes together. But as soon as it splits, it looks just worse.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's very, very strange. And this was, an inspired thing. It is still, a Battlestar Galactica Viper. It's still I mean, it's a simple concept, but it's also just the greeblies they've used. The things that are exposed, not exposed. It's again all those things put together in a good package. But it really is the OP ship of Star Wars as well. Like, this thing is better than every every fighter in every universe, pretty much. It just is, And if you look at like its stats of what it can do, as you said, hyperspace and proton torpedoes and lasers and astromech and shields and landing. I mean, it is OP. It's the only thing. None of the ships have this much and maneuverable as everything. But it's the hero fighter with our hero. So doi.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it like to play then in squadrons?
It's all right. It's not as good as you'd expect, honestly. It just doesn't. There's a reason I take the Y wing, because the Y wing take a lot more punishment.
Oh yeah.
This one you tend to get knocked out of the game pretty quick, especially when you're playing multiplayer. So you say that it's got good shielding and stuff, and I guess it does, but it's supposed to be more maneuverable than the Y wing, which it is. So that's, if you're that kind of a pilot where you're trying to avoid, I don't know. I just, it's fun to play in the game, but it's not. I thought it would be the one I thought it would be my go-to one. And actually, the best one to fly in squadrons for the Rebels is the A-wing. It's a little OP powered ship. It can kick anything's ass. It's tough and it's fast and it's maneuverable. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that. But I don't like flying the A-wing either, because it's not an attractive looking ship.
Because in every game I've ever played, the A-wing is so weak in terms of firepower. Like, and its shielding, it gets blown out. But it's quick. You avoid stuff. You have no physical firepower, but you're quick. That's how this one is balanced. And the fact that the proton torpedoes means, I remember in Battlefront, that you get the shields down with a blast, a salvo, and also firing lots, and then boom, protons, you take them out. Although when you play it, do you like going one at a time or all four at the same time? Which feels more satisfying when you play? Personal preference.
2 and 2.
Ah, you're that guy.
Fire then. Yeah, because if you go 4, you got to wait for them to recharge. So it's like, poof, poof. Whereas you got, otherwise it's if you fire all 4, but it's just not as impactful when you hit the ship. So it's always 2 and 2 for me.
I quite like the satisfaction of pew. I just like the sound effects normally, and just one at a time, just constant fire. Yeah, Gatling gun of fire.
They're just not as powerful each blast though, because when you go 2 and 2, like they're both hitting at the same time, and 4 has got a lot of punch.
Yeah, but Stuart, I always hit those, so it's fine.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Stuart, I stay on target.
But you turned off your targeting computer. Is everything okay?
It's fine.
Okay. That's a great answer.
It's like, there was a reason for that, guys, Red Squadron. I know what I'm doing. Trust me. I'm a doctor.
He's the new guy.
Yeah, seriously. I haven't met him until 2 hours ago.
He's just a farm boy who thinks he can fly.
Oh, wait, he can fly. Lovely, yeah. Nice.
What's your number 5?
Let's find out. My number 5 is... Yes, Razor's Crest. It's a little bit higher on mine. Nice. Is the Firefly of the fleet. It is... It looks good in motion. It actually does, and you wouldn't think it does. I mean, obviously, it's how they shoot it, obviously, but it's got that graceful... a lot of ships look good, very statically zoom past camera. This one, you do a swing. It swings like the best of them. And even looks good in atmosphere. It does help, obviously, in the show that we've physically been in every part of the ship. So we can visualize it, we get a sense of it. Scale, I believe, when I look at this, I can see every part of it, and that helps, I think. We never really got a sense how powerful it was, but that's really not the point. I imagine those cannons aren't particularly powerful, although they're still beefy for their size. And if you said X-Wing turrets are much longer and thinner, and these are much more bulky looking, they're obviously older, but You would think still, I don't know how it equates, but you would assume powerful-ish.
Well, you would assume they've been upgraded too. They're probably not
Yeah.
the original ones that came on the ship. So
Yeah, for sure. So it's just but it's just so damn simple. But a lot of these newer Star Wars ones, from the prequels to the sequels, are either overcomplicated because the simple shapes are done in the original trilogy, which they're trying to extrapolate from and do new things on, or they are weird and don't quite work. This is back to really simple, clearly inspired from Firefly, which worked, but it has that original series vibe that this would have been a miniature they could have made. It was a miniature they made. So this could be right out of Return of the Jedi. It could have been, Boba Fett's, or it could have been Bosk's ship. If they'd cut to him, say, "Hey, I Bugsy'd Han." So it's very much a very true to original, which you often find those. If you can find that magic again, that's that Star Wars secret sauce that a lot of this stuff doesn't have. Now, not to say a lot of prequel designs aren't really cool. It's just they're going for a different thing. This fits right back in. Yeah.
Good answer.
Number 5, right middle of the road.
All right, so now we're getting into the top 4.
Ooh. Yes, sir.
My number 4 happens to be 4-legged. We're looking at the AT-AT.
Hey.
Or AT-AT. These are such a cool design, and I remember seeing these as a kid and being like, "That is neat." If I was a kid, this would be higher on my list. But over the years, it's kind of got bumped back a little bit. But it looks like a turtle with long legs, or like a camel. And it's kind of impractical in a way, but then you think about different terrain and stuff, and it's like, I can see why it works for different terrain, but at the same time, it's like too rocky a terrain, and you can't do anything with it. It's kind of a weird creature in that regard. But it's missing a tail too. It needs some kind of tail. But anyway, but it feels very turtle-like to me, even the shape of the head and stuff. And I love that it's like a small cockpit there. You got troop areas in the back. It's, how do you get the troops out? I don't know. Do they kneel down with a ramp? I guess that's what happens. Again, not much thought went into practicality wise. It was just cool factor, I think, and they had to make it practically work over the years with games and stuff. But honestly, it's a neat thing, and to see a bunch of these coming over the horizon, firing, and even with the chin guns do this, it's just such a neat little creature. So, yeah, the AT-AT. What do you prefer, AT-AT or AT-AT?
Oh, AT-AT.
Yeah,
gives it more respect.
Yeah,
AT-AT's fine, but
it's an acronym.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean
you can't do the same thing with the AT-ST. You can't say the ATST.
No, and that, yeah, for sure. But this is the first. Although I love the fact that, and it's hard to see, they did build and design the AT-ST for this film. They're just really small. And
it's a different one. The one on Hoth is actually different than the one on Endor.
Oh.
There's a different shape for the head.
But it's not that different, though. It's not like different.
No.
But
no.
But the fact they just had that already in the back, like as an extra, is lovely. No, this one's, I mean, obviously it's again beyond iconic. It's that weird hybrid. It doesn't feel practical, as you said. I mean, why even these legs? Why?
And so many moving parts, even right under the main body.
Yeah.
You got like it's just like there's so many things that could go wrong or be targeted. But then they comment on how thick the armor is.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Blasters won't work. So.
And I think a lot of you're not like different fighters aren't meant for aerial, like in atmosphere combat. So it's a different league of, like, I'm sure a X-wing could punch this thing, but there's a reason why X-wings you don't tend to fly in air anyway. But no, it's a very weird one, and it's just a weird approach because it's not a tank. It's not weapony enough for that, but it is armored to the teeth. But really, it's a troop carrier. But like I said, how does it launch troops? I remember reading when I was young the original dictionary, and at least the way I interpreted it all is what it actually is. And again, the Hoth version, there's also versions in the way I use it, but this one is actually designed to have people in the cockpit, great, pew pew. the entire back is a big snow speeder, like the Endor bikes. There's Endor bikes, and the thing just opens up and they fly out. That's it. He just launches Endor
Mhm.
bikes. Because it's a troop carrier. It's not designed for gunning. It's designed to launch lots of bikes.
Mhm.
That's it. But you never see it do it, and you never get a sense of what it's meant to do. But that's what it does.
Yeah, I'd buy that for
I
sure.
think it can launch like 16 or 8 or 16. The sides can go down, and the yeah, so you can like just launch out. So yeah, it's really odd. But also in like other games, it's a great boss because yeah, that's such a powerful thing, and in
Yeah.
the other Battlefront 2, you can play with one and it's fun.
Mhm.
But definitely feels impractical as soon as you get, like you say, like a sandy thing or beaches or um, you
I mean,
know.
we see the ones in Rogue One, which are a little bit different design, specifically designed for beach kind of
Yes.
assaults.
And I do prefer these hands down to the guerrilla versions in Last Jedi, which are interesting in concept, but they don't look as good and they
Yeah,
feel contrived. Even though I
they feel
like,
more primitive for sure.
yeah, well, literally and figuratively, and I like the
Hmm.
gun idea. Putting it, if you swapped out the back and gave it a big gun turret, I'm all for. But the idea that they literally on their knuckles have to dig in. Again, conceptually interesting, but just have normal legs that just like magnetize. You don't need some extra bullshit, and give it a. It's
Hmm.
just, it's Ryan Johnson being an idiot again. As you know, he's an idiot. No, yeah, great. But I was tempted to put them on my list, but I didn't.
Okay,
Tempted
good to
though,
know. Good to know.
but didn't.
Sean Corpier for another $5. Thank you so much,
Thank
Sean.
you.
Uh, this started my long love with mechs. I love Mech Warrior and BattleTech.
Mm.
Yeah, this inspired a lot of kids, I think. I remember really loving this thing as a kid. I always wanted the toy, never got it.
Yeah, me
It
too.
was just too expensive or
Me
whatever.
too.
I still don't have one. I got like smaller versions of it, but
Well, for us it was the
um,
Lego one. It's like, nope.
yeah.
Yeah. I did save up to
Uh,
get a Millennium Falcon though, which was like 4 months of saving.
Matt Boardman, $5. When
Thank
I
you.
was a kid, the AT-AT was the Star Wars toy that I always wanted.
Mm.
One of the kids in the neighborhood had one, and I was always so jealous. Yeah, I hear you, man. I
Yeah.
hear you. And I love the AT-AT drivers,
Yes.
the figures. They have such cool armor. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was so much cooler than a stormtrooper.
Mm.
Because I had one as a kid because I found one on the playground. And I was like, "This is cool." I don't even know what this. I didn't even know what it was from for, like years later. I found out that it was
Mm.
the pilot for this thing, and it's like, damn, that's cool.
Mm.
So,
Awesome. Nice.
anywho, what's your number 4, my friend?
My number 4 is the
May
Lambda.
the 4th and number 4.
May the Lambda class shuttle be with you. My number 4. Uh, Once again, and I feel almost guilty doing original series, original movies for most of them. It's again an art of total simplicity, and yet totally works. And it's frustrating how well it works. It factors better on the looks good angle. I think it actually does look quite good. But when you actually break down its shapes, it's a box. It's a rectangle box that looks ugly, with a gorgeous head. But the logic of having it all fold down the way it does, it could be. It's not straight. If it was straight, it wouldn't work as well. It's that distinct shape pattern. And I mean, seeing it then in the Mandalorian episode be featured so prominently showed that today holds up exactly the same, exactly as well. Feels maneuverable, zooms around. It's got a certain something, and it's so different to the other Imperial stuff, yet clearly the same. It's another nail out of the park, but it's way more bulky than like the Revenge of the Sith one, which is arguably looks way more advanced, although it's weirdly like cut up at the top because it was made in CG. It was way more detailed. This one, it looks like a miniature, feels like a miniature, feels like a had to be built practically. So it grounds it, but it doesn't look as advanced as that one. But it has that secret sauce,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't change much of it without losing the secret sauce. But it's also still very
Yeah.
bulky. It's weird.
Good summation.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
it is a fine looking ship. Um, I do like the functionality of it with the wings that fold up and the landing gear that kind of pop down as they've. That's really well designed. Can't see, practically having a lot of internal volume. I mean, we do see the inside of it in Mandalorian and stuff, but it's for like a few people. It's not like a big transport ship. So
it's not a shuttle so much as a private taxi.
Yeah, it's the limo.
Yeah,
Star Wars limo.
Lambda limo. Yeah, which is great though. It is. Yeah. I mean, think about how much volume this thing takes. It is not worth it to transport 4 people and one emperor. It's a stat symbol of look at my massive shuttle.
Tail fin.
Yeah, so I actually that must be part of it, because you could easily build this at 1/10 the scale and have the same functionality. It's just a status symbol for the emperor, and the fact that it gets bigger. His personal shuttle gets bigger over time as he's more compensating for his age and shrinkage. Makes sense.
Perfect. Guys, we're coming into our top 3 now.
Oh,
so gold, silver, and bronze. And we have 93 likes. Let's get Wonderful. 7 more likes to get up to 100 likes. We have 117 people here, so it's going to definitely be a possibility. And by all means, start letting us know your guys' favorite ships, because we're getting to the top 1 slot here. So
yes, and I'll be honest with you guys. We need another $22 to have a nice, happy day. Let's go 17 more likes. But briefly, while you guys maybe joining that, I don't want to bring up that we are planning on doing our next TNG review, which is the Darmok episode, which everyone knows is the amazingly amazing episode. We're going to do it as a drunk live, or at least a drinking live, whereby every time one of you quotes a line, either a real Darmok line or a you may not that sounds Darmok, Stu has to say it, and we'll take a drink. And so the further we go, as you can imagine, if you super chat us with sayings, by the time we get to the end of the live, we'll be like, well, Stuart and Samuel goes to Vegas and Tanagra. That's crap, Sean. That's crap. Fun may ensue. And so that I'm sure will be pretty soon. That's our next episode of TNG. So that'll be, and then obviously Stuart's birthday, drunk live as well. That we might get a bit messy for, whenever that will be. Then my drunk live, birthday live after that. So Stuart,
your birthday is June 7th, right?
Yes, and your birthday is the 25th.
Yes, I remembered. You fuck.
21st?
No, 28th, man.
Ah, so close. I was close though. Yeah.
I'm surprised I remembered. I remembered yours last night. I'm like, June 7th, I think. It's near mine.
Yes.
And so I got it right.
It's weirdly close.
Sean, though, throws in $5. You could flow in this in the tie game. Yes.
But you're rarely allowed to fly it, which annoys me. I'd like to. I wish there were more games, because this is such a good scale one that I wish you could, in a game, actually go through it and like I'm sure in Squadrons, you can actually physically walk into something and look around it. It's got a sort of scale, but I guess I don't necessarily want to design the inside of the back.
Okay, we're getting into our top 3 now. So this is my bronze place. This one I didn't even know existed until like last year.
Ooh.
And it is I call it the Mandalorian Imperial Transport Ship, because I don't know what the hell it's actually called.
Oh, right.
It's the one from the Eris episode, which I had to find a good screen cap for, and I went through the episode, and this kind of shows off all the things I like about it. So it is a cool ship. Apparently it's been around for a while. I didn't know about this. It is a neat looking design. It just, the 3 engine, like, I don't know what it is about it. I just really, really love how this thing feels and looks. What's it called? Does anyone know? Can anyone tell me? Please help me out. I was trying to find the name for it, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, it was a ship in Rebels. It's been used quite a lot. I remember it launches 2 TIE fighters on the side. It's quite a classic one. Not that I know the name of it, but
no. Well, you're useless. ISFJ 1009, $5. My favorite shuttle is the one with 4 wings that looks like Mosasaurus. 4 wings.
What? Star Wars 4-wing shuttle. I don't know which one that is.
I don't either.
No, not T4 shuttle. Oh, the Zeta class, the one from Rogue One, where they have... It's actually 2 wings, but it looks like 4 wings.
Oh. Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
It looks great when they're down. Waste of space when it's up.
Yeah. Sergeant Montgomery, $2, warming up the slug thrower with a force snipe.
Force snipe. I like that. Sorry, that would be funny in a minute. Force choke snipe. Okay. Yeah.
This one, yeah, I didn't even know it was Mandalorian, and I really was impressed with it when I saw that episode.
Yeah, why do you like it? Like, what about it?
I don't know. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It feels like a modern day jumbo jet almost, but with the three engines. I think it looks really cool from the back. You get to see the top schematic of it. It's just a nice shape, and it's got a bulk to it that I just think is fantastic for a ship. I instantly fell in love with it. I had to throw it on this list, and I mean, third place is pretty good considering Jesus. I didn't even know it existed until
and
that episode came out.
A Gazanti class, says Franco. Not to say, the animated one was less detailed and it was more rectangularly. This one is much smoother, much more detailed. And I do think, having seen the other one, it was fine, but never too impressive. This one was obviously detailed to the 9, and that does help a lot when they actually make a hero asset out of it. Yeah. So it's just so you think it's just it just works. It tickled you in a special place, is what you're saying.
Sure. It satisfied my fighter jet love, because I love fighter jets. It's got some kind of sleekness to it that I just think is totally fantastic. Rad. It is rad, man. Sleek.
Doesn't it also feel like a dinosaur head, like / a Cylon head?
Yeah.
Like, it's so many things on the front. It's such a pleasing.
That's the thing. I just don't have a reason for why I like it. It just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It immediately spoke to me, and I'm like, yes, this is. I was drooling over it watching the episode. And I did the screen caps for the episode, and I was like, yeah, I gotta get some more shots of this. And you're probably like, that's too many shots of the ships.
Well, also because it's a bloody grey episode. The color palette is awful.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
Horrendous. Guys, you tell us actually then, because I'd be interested to see if you guys will this be on even your top 20? Not to disregard your own opinions, Joe. I'm just interested to make it more broad. Would this be in your top 20, guys, as just it works sort of ship? So I definitely think it's on that line between Star Wars and not Star Wars, because if you do a few things to it, it's not Star Wars. But that's the point. It feels extremely functional, simple, and like you said, I like that jumbo jet, freighter, cargo,
and yet still fighter jet. Like, you could shrink this down to be like a fighter design as well.
Ooh, you could, yeah.
I think that's why I like it. And just the way the engines are configured, it just looks mean, like from almost every angle. So,
although I do think in the Mandalorian it was presented as way more, not clunky, but like slow turning speed.
Had to do it again.
Yep. It was presented with a lot more mass than it is in the other episodes and movies. Yeah, no, cool. I wouldn't have thought of it, but I do also appreciate it. I hope we see it again.
You probably remember me oozing about it during the episode review.
I think you were happy, and I was like, "Oh yeah," you're like, "You knew about it?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I was in the Rebels,
yeah, and they just show ships. It's never presented anything particularly special, etc., etc. And yes, definitely looks Cylon. Absolutely looks Cylon. Cool. Love a bit of surprise number 3. Let's see what my number 3 is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, the Millennium Falcon.
Oh.
So what is your 7, 6?
Yeah.
No.
What a hunk
7.
of junk. It's my number 7, yeah.
So quite a bit higher on my list. I felt it's just too iconic. It's again one of those shapes that somehow just works. Personally, the 2 things that I like best are the front pincers and the aft engine. I like it fine. Everything else, as in the choices, but the pincers and the back, they just say that's interesting to me. Really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need the addition of the fill in the gap in Rogue One. That feels so. We've got to do something with it.
Solo.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. There's no reason for that, and I far prefer the visual in the books where you put a cargo module in there. It looks stupid, but it's space. You can have bulk. It's fine. Which obviously makes it redundant. that lost all the functionality for this version in Solo. But it's just like, let's plug up one of its discerning features and make it look kind of plain. Like, it loses all of that. Even though it makes it sleeker by default because you give it that more front, you know, it takes away that uniqueness that it needs. It needs, honestly. So keep that. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, really nice and very understandable. I like the interior for the most part. I felt I think the later movies actually help a lot, but if you were tasked, say 15 years ago, 20 years ago maybe, draw a map of the Falcon, you'd be like, well, you know the gun turrets, you know the ramp. Where's the bed bit? It's just a circle. Like they just kind of go around it. It's not as distinct. Ironically, the later movies kind of helped a little bit.
But the interior never doesn't match the exterior as far as size goes. Never really has.
No,
they try, but
it does match a 3/4. Like they can put the inside in the outside if they just shrink the outside down. That's because they've built one. Like they did build all of the inside. So I'd love to physically. I really would love to walk in this thing and really like actually understand its entirety, and you know, see the bunk spaces, like really the bunk. But I mean, it's only built for 2 people, so you don't need all those extra spaces. So I'm still left with a weird mystery of what's actually in it size wise. Like I know the size of the cockpit, but the rest of it doesn't necessarily fit with what's in the rest of it. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, because you need room for the engines and stuff. You need room for where they play the chess game. Like when you start thinking about it, it's like I've seen different plans for it. I actually have a cutaway book over there of it, but
there's also not much else in it. Like it's not really a cargo ship so much as it carries it's more for carrying boxes and people. It's not a cargo carrier. It's a it's a courier. It's a people, which is fine. I mean, you know, you can take very expensive ore that is small. You don't need to, or guns. You know, whatever. You can have small things. But yeah, don't say how much real room there is. Actual room. It's like there's a ship that I'm blanking on that when you break down what's actually inside it, there's like almost no physical space because everything is clearly needed for the actual running of the ship. And you think, oh, it's a big ship. You're like, there's no space whatsoever for the ship.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But you don't think about it, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, and you picked one of the pictures that kind of makes it look fat to me. Like, I don't know. But
yeah,
still a cool ship.
Yes. Cool. All right. Your silver medal, Stuart.
My number 2. My silver medal is the Lambda class shuttle.
Oh!
Beautiful, elegant design, very future forward-thinking design, and yet so impractical. Why are the wings so big? Why is the fin so big? Folded up, it takes up a lot of room height-wise. It's just kind of cool for the sake of being cool. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know why I like it so much, just because of its simplicity. But it is very striking visually, and I think that's one of the main things, honestly. It definitely feels like the top of the line, most expensive Star Wars ship that there is as far as small craft go. Because all the other ones seem kind of ugly and clunky.
McClunky!
Jesus Christ. But yeah, this one, like you said when you were talking about it being your choice, the limo or the personal, like it's the Learjet for the elite of the Star Wars universe. It's impractical because it can be, because it does what it needs to do. It's not utilitarian. It's not really functional. Like I said, it takes a lot of room.
I think the only thing that's in the wings is like solar panels. Like they're not even, like you can't fit much in there. There's no fuel. There's no, like they're just taking up space. You know, it doesn't even land on them. What's the point?
Yeah.
Which is great. It's a symbol.
And it's kind of almost an odd choice that it has guns on it at all. But it's got like these two little guns that like rotate. I always wanted the toy of this too, but it was another one that I never got. It was one of the bigger toys, especially when it folds up. Like it's like
I
But,
did get the
anyway,
Lego
yeah.
version.
Did you?
Yep. Yeah, I bought it. You know, it was one of the
Nice.
ones I saved up for. Very few pieces. I'll be honest. It was way too much money for what you got. But I think you got red guards with it, which is really cool because they're pretty rare to get. And I love what we both now said, the limo thing, because they underuse it, which gives it more power. It brings the Emperor in, and then it's Darth Vader's version later on, and then Luke steals it, and then we don't really see it again until Rogue One, which is taking a special prisoner or special guy. Like, this is the
Mandalorian, not Rogue One.
Thank you. Bloody hell again. Like, it's not the ship you see when you expect to see a troop carrier, because it isn't.
Yeah.
And that does keeps
it VIP shuttle.
By underusing it, it keeps the mystique, which it could easily have been lost. I think, like we said, Millennium Falcon to some extent, Rogue Solo kind of removed that mystique a bit by showing the older form. Yeah. But this, it still has that, and that's why seeing it in Mandalorian was such a big payoff. Number 2, wow, over X-wing and wow, cool.
There we go.
Cool.
Now,
yes,
your silver place.
I'm gonna change mine around. I'm gonna flip them.
Are you really?
Yeah, because as we've been talking, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go for the obvious one, because the obvious one is more fun because I can talk about it for longer.
Oh goodness!
But I was trying to resist, but I'm gonna give in to that. Okay.
Okay.
My number 2 silver is the X-wing, which would have been my number 1 otherwise. But no, this is actually, I'm gonna stop it right at the last minute because, as I said I was trying to be very clearly giving all the information away when yours came up, just so it wasn't clear which ones mine were. I don't know if that came across. I was just
no.
But I mean, I don't know if you could tell it was in because I was just going all out. I mean, again, it's the most iconic, the most OP, the most distinctive, defined everything going forward and after. It looks both World War II with the weirdly retro engines and yet sleek as all hell with the nose. Don't know what the hell's going on with the laser cannons, but they're agreeably cool. I don't know. You understand the scale because you've seen it. Single man pilot. You know how fast it is. The fact that it was Luke's hero thing, so you have respect for it as being a genuine travel item. And having read all the books, these things, there is, and actually in Mandalorian it showed it as well. These things can run in pairs or in small squadrons and be a fully functional fighting force. You can't have 3 A-wings or 3 Y-wings or 3 B-wings and say the same thing. They aren't that all-rounded. This can be a fully functional force in a set. That's how good they are. They are more than some of their parts, and that, as we know, this is the reason the Rebels had the advantage. This is the only reason. Without this, they had fighter inferiority, and all the side canon aside, the Empire War game, actually one of its main missions was the X-wing and developing why that was what it was. And I don't know if that was from one of the comics, but the basic story was this was originally a Imperial design, based on one of the sort of the side worlds that were designing it, one of the big corporations, and I believe the lead designer said one day, yeah, this is too good. The Empires can't have it, otherwise they'll just keep improving. And so he has sent a signal to rebels to come take the schematics and take him. But it was a heavily armored place, so they had to sacrifice a lot of troops and ships to get it. Once they had it, it was like way better than it was like a next gen of the Z25 Headhunter, which is why it wasn't given the same resources to build as the Empire could have, but it ended up being, wow, that's kind of defined, overpowered for its size because it just worked. And so it was too good. The Rebels got hands of it, they were able to mass produce it, and then instantly became the Spitfire, the naval air superiority fighter, because it just was better in every way. But it was meant to be an Imperial design, not by an Imperial shipyard, but an Imperial design. And if they'd had it, it would have been a whole different war. So it symbolizes a ton of stuff, and they would not have been able to win without this.
Yeah. Very well thought out answer. Very impressed.
But guys, 4 more likes and $15 more. What do you think our number 1s are going to be? I want to see you guys throw in the comments. if you've been paying attention for the last hour and a bit, you know our lists. What is our number one? And Eric just got us past our initial goal, so $15 more. Guys, what do you think our number ones are? And then you'll be impressed if you're right, because we won't say, "Oh, you're right," because that'd be a spoiler. But you will know. You will know.
While you're doing that, I'm going to read Eric Martin's $5 super chat. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I got another one. Sorry. Sean Carpe, $5. I remember the ship before Rebels. Always loved it. I don't know which ship that was. A while ago. Eric Martin, $5. Hand kept the outside of the Falcon looking beat to keep the low profile for smuggling, but I never understood why the interior was so beat up. Yeah. I love the comparison when you see it, the inside in Solo, and then they got the inside later. It's like this happened in like 10 years, 10, 15 years. What were Chewie and Han smuggling? Coffee and fertilizer. Like,
I mean, you assume they didn't clean it. They were too busy doing everything else.
Yeah. But if you love your vehicle, you'd clean it. I don't know.
Stuart, it ain't no Camaro. If they had a Camaro, they would. And also just got on the donation on the Trekyards Indiegogo. We're now at 24%, £1,840. We're so close to 25%, guys. If you want to support the Indiegogo right now, help us get to 25%, you could. And I'll keep it up if anyone wants to donate. I think like £15 would get us to 25%, just so you know. And that's a pretty nice... I'd like to hit that milestone today. So Trekyards, if you want to support 5 new Star Trek short films in multiple eras that both Stuart is in, and Matt can test the quality, and other people have already donated. Yeah, just Trekyards.
All right, so people got Slave 1, E-Wing, T-Wing, Slave 1, Death Star, ISD, Enterprise, Raiders, TIE Fighter. Did the captain pick the TIE Fighter yet? I haven't, no. So there you go. There's some choices. They're all wrong, but that's okay.
And Queen Amidala's ship is very sleek. Too sleek.
Yes.
Wouldn't we go for both? Wouldn't we go for both pick the Death Star? It's such a weird choice.
Sergeant Montgomery, $5. My number one, the U-Wing, very much like a Huey or Apache, and also light speed enabled. Yes. Not a fan of the U-Wing myself.
No, so me either. I get it feels so much function over any kind of good-looking form, which is great. But I like.
It's like we need another ship that's named after a letter of the alphabet. U hasn't been used.
Let's make it a U. Yeah.
And it's just it's the functionality of it just doesn't work for me. It seems too contrived.
Yeah, the front view is fine, but a waste of space. And then when it goes slicey, it's like, oh my god, what a waste of everyone's time and space.
Yeah. Sean throws in another $5. So thank you very much, Sean. B-Wing fighter or U-Wing fighter? He's guessing for our number ones, I guess.
Do you guys like the U-Wing? Guys, sorry, once more, another little poll. Do you guys like the U-Wing? Yes or no? Let us know.
I got a live later today. I got to get to.
Do you?
So we got to.
Oh, when's that?
Soon. It's at 9 my time, but I want to have some time to like eat.
Okay. No. Okay, cool. Well, Stuart, then your number one is
my number one. If anybody's been paying attention,
I have
to me. One of my favorite Star Wars vehicles is the AT-ST Scout Transport.
What a picture! What a weird
I like that picture. I was trying to find a better one from the Mandalorian, but I couldn't.
No, there isn't any.
I know. I wanted that cool vibe. Yeah, I really like the AT-ST. I hated these so much as a kid. Didn't work for me. I had the toy because my brother bought
Chicken Walker.
Yeah. But over the years, especially within the last 10 years, it's really kind of dawned on me that this is a cool design. It might not work for going over all terrain as we see it kind of stumble on logs and stuff, but I think it's neat. It is a very cool sci-fi design that I don't know, there's something about it I really, really like. And I love that it's called the Chicken Walker because it's got like little chicken legs. And when I made my Bandai model of it, I got custom made decals for it in the Star Wars writing. and it says Killer Chicken. A play on the Chicken Walker thing. So anyway, yeah. They got the guns, the rocket launcher on the side, 2 pilots, simple, to the point. Better than an AT-AT.
Well,
I mean, you get to
clearly,
pilot
you've
these.
said it's much higher on the ranking.
I mean, it probably doesn't have the same armor, and probably the AT-AT is more imposing, but this one is more maneuverable, can get into more places, and you get to play it in a lot of the games, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
They're also a bitch to take down in games. You got to get underneath them and like behind them and to destroy them. I don't know. I'm a real fan of the ATST. I've got a few of them upstairs in the ready room, and go, man, go.
Yeah, as soon as you said vehicles, not ships, I knew this would be number one. I had a
Did
feeling.
you really?
Yeah. Like I was like, that distinction means something here. I'm. He's like, yeah, I want this one as number one. And like I said, I was always impressed it was in the second film. I'm annoyed the fact that it feels relatively weak in the third film, given its potential. But that's the problem with fighting teddy bears with logs. I mean, it's gonna feel like a bitch because it's fighting bitch tools. But really, it's very capable, and obviously Mandalorian, and we saw it properly. Now, the AT-AT is actually a troop transport, right? This is actually a tank. That sounds odd given the power of one, but this is actually a tank. It's fully on a gun. This is just a weapon on legs. Like I said, way more maneuverable, way faster. It can actually swivel and fire. The AT-AT cannot. You are limited. This can do a turn. I believe the head can turn a certain amount. It can't do a full 360, I believe, but it can turn a little bit. And in games, they often change out the guns on the sides to really big like weapons, and you can, like, I think in I played against one of the lightsaber toting games. I probably Jedi Academy, and like there's a rocket launcher one that sucks because it can be kitted out with very customizable guns, and those are like the secondary weapons. It's got 2 primary big guns and all the secondaries, which can be multitasking, and it can fire 4 sets of guns at the same time. Very capable. It's not necessarily a nice looking design, but it feels like exactly what it is. Under armored, overpowered, kill your tank.
Overpowered is a great way to describe this thing, for sure.
Yeah. But as with all things, I mean, normal blaster bolts won't get through. That's because armored. Big blasters will, but if you're surviving the firepower of this thing, you deserve the medal. In a real, what it would be combat. And obviously you can launch loads of these in a battle and just have total superiority. Because they're not that. I mean, they're very simplified designs, so you can have many of them.
And deploying like a squadron of these through any kind of terrain, even like a forest. I mean, sure. I mean, they're way better than the AT-ATs, obviously, because they're a lot smaller. So, yeah, I just think they're really fantastic. They're a cool sci-fi premise for a vehicle. And that's one of the reasons I like them. So, yeah.
I think I backed you up with some of my own reasons.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah. But it really is just the Star Wars tank.
Yeah.
And it works. And I'm sorry Stuart can guess my own as well, but I swapped it because of the clear love you have for your one. I am going to say my favourite is the Ebon Hawk from KOTOR.
Yes.
And this is one of the ones where aesthetically not the best, but it does have a really unique character. But the fact that, as obviously it's a personal bias, but I've spent 200 hours on this ship. Unlike the Millennium Falcon, I know every single room, I know every single corner, I know every single place, I know exactly what it can do. This is the only ship I've lived in, literally and figuratively, and it is very much a part of my life, as weird as that is. It's very functionally able. It keeps a lot of the great hallmarks from the Millennium Falcon, obviously, but it is different. It has its own unique feel. It isn't just a Millennium Falcon ripoff or clone, or whatever. It's clearly its own thing. It is limited by the polygon limit of the time, clearly. The head would not have been as square had it been built 5 years later in games. But the rest of it makes up for it. It's got some lovely curves. And it is, like I say, it's functional. And the fact that, the 2 pods are where the crew quarters are, the back is the engine room, the top is the gun, and the back 2, bits are the cargo bays. Boom. The bit between the 2 pods and the main bit is a science bay, the middle bit is the living bay, and then the front bit is a cockpit. Boom. Very simple, very straightforward, fits in, and really just, I mean, no, I'm in number one because even though the X-Wing is more iconic, my personal connection to it is more just because I love those movies. This is far more characterful than an X-Wing, in my opinion.
I would have called you out on that hadn't you not switched them, because I remember we did our mission briefing or discussion on this, and yeah.
And I thought you were gonna call me out and say, "Oh, Ebon Hawk's your number one," but I was like, "Yeah, but he's gonna put ATST, so I feel comfortable. I'm gonna bet money on that." And I was like, "Oh, X-Wing." So I did swap them, but it's just, I lived in this ship, and it's not the sexiest, but it does look good in motion.
Yeah.
It's that line between too bulky and not bulky enough. I mean, I don't know if you would agree. I know we talked about it years ago, but what do you think of the design then?
Wouldn't be my first choice just looking at it, but I can totally understand size-wise and just functionality-wise why you like it. Not my favorite design, I gotta say, but when you're looking at ships like the Millennium Falcon and stuff, is this Carillion? I don't even know.
But to be fair, you did say an ATSD is your favorite, so
exactly. That's mean.
No, it's just, yeah.
We're unconventional with our favorites. Shut up, people. No, it's a neat little design.
Yeah, and it was just more fleshed out than almost anything in Star Wars because you literally spent so much time on it. I am blown away that they haven't done a remaster of the first and second game, and I think if they did, and I'm sure they will at some point, it's just pure moneymaker if they didn't proper. And boy, you're a VR guy. If I would probably buy a VR headset just to play the game in VR, honestly. Assuming it was like next gen graphic, like really nice graphics, and obviously update the game mechanics a little bit because it's a little bit old now. But yeah, boy, they need to.
Cool. Sean though throws in $5. That was such a terrifying visual for the ATST.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the way they presented it in The Mandalorian. Didn't quite understand it. Looked like it was controlled by ghosts, but whatever. Haunted ATST. 250 rubles from Eugene. The Ebon Hawk, you, sir, have great taste. Dun, dun, dun. And Zeraxis, $5. ATTE for Best Walker, 202. Also, Fury class interceptor is amazing and a bit underrated in my opinion. Old Republic and general stuff is pretty great.
Yeah, Fury class, not bad. Just a bit convoluted to me, but I see why I like it. And I was tempted to put the ATTE, which is the big, the tank, the Ford Walker tank from the prequels, with the big ass gun. I like it, but I was like, oh, it looks, it's so.
I hate them.
Okay, there you go. I find it really cool, but it's like, but it is what it is. It is a tank on legs rather than a cool tank that's advanced. It's a, yeah.
Yeah, that would, yeah. Most of the prequel stuff is just not my. I don't like the design aesthetic of any of it really. Let's be honest. Some of the Naboo stuff is interesting, but. Yeah.
Well, it all makes sense in the context of what it is. It's just not the most pleasing stuff. But I'd say, I had one on here. But there you go, guys. But can we get 4 more likes and $12 more? I think we can. And that'll be a
quite. The last super chat slot's available, so snipe that thing.
That's true.
Come on, guys.
And like I said, we want to do a drunk. Oh, I said Alan Moraine. Oh, boy, yeah, fuck Stuart, that one we're doing shots. Every super chat's a shot for Alan Moraine. And then we'll enjoy it by the end. God damn.
We'll be dead from alcohol.
I mean,
poisoning.
that is the code of honor, so it will be hashtag Alan Moraine.
Yeah.
Drink. But obviously, do we want to do the live talking about Along From Home all the shorts this week? I don't know. Since we tend to do 3 lives. Sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I don't know. Would you guys be interested in seeing the Darmok episode and a live about the fan film Indiegogo and a Longing From Home? Say in the comments below, because if you won't turn up, there's no point in us doing it. As sad as that is, it's true.
It's true. Hit that like button, guys. 5 more likes and like $12 more.
And do go back and watch our Saturday episode with the Anti-Tracker, where we have a mildly heated debate on the original series Romulan ship. There are more heated debates to come. Do not worry. He liked being the contrarian, but he had a very. At some point, you're like, oh no, he believes that. And we're like, oh.
Yeah.
And that I forgot what he had. Definitely worth a watch though. He fights his corner. As well he should.
We got 2 members this live.
Ooh.
2 members. 2 people joined the channel, so thank you. That means a lot, guys. 3 more likes. Oh, there's another super chat. Zeraxis, $5.
Yes.
We need more N1 Starfighter in our lives. Maybe we'll get lucky, and Bad Batch will give us some of them. Either way, very good and pretty fighter.
It is pretty, but in sort of a very sleek way. I would love to see a tactical version because it's the Naboo are not a war fighter race. Everything's made for ponts and Oh look, I'd like to see that shape, but tactilized. Like add more guns on the top, add some prone torpedo bays. Give it a real gritty take. Same shape, but the war version. I think that would work really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we hit our 140 likes. That's awesome.
You know what? $1. That'll round us up to a number. $1. $1. Stuart, would you live that for $1?
No.
Oh. I haven't missed a pun today, haven't I? Though it's like 4 puns in a row. Crazy.
Yeah. It's been great.
How's it though?
Stealing my job.
Yeah, well, mine weren't dad jokes. They were actually funny.
Oh.
And that was my best joke of all. And that was another joke on top of Harry. I guess I'm loopy today. I don't know.
$1, guys. $1 for the last super chat slot, and to round us up to the $1 that we need, that'd be awesome. And yeah. Yeah, so we don't know what we're doing. Do it live tomorrow or the day after, and the day after. Don't know what yet, but
very well could be the Darmok drunk one. So tune in. And I like briefly. What was it? Zeraxis. Time to give the N1 Starfighter the gold Warship Voyager treatment. That's what I was
living witness that thing up. Eugene Stage puts in $1. Thank you so much. Matt Boardman, $5 for Snipe.
Yes.
And Eric Martin, $1. Sorry. And Squadra Course, $2. Here you go. Thanks for the
brilliant.
live.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. That's a good place to leave it. Thank you, guys.
Pimp out your other lives, Stuart, quickly before you go. Pimp it out.
What other live? But oh yes, tonight. Oh yes, on Vile Mike's channel. If you guys know who Vile Mike is, some of you do in the chat. He's doing a Star Wars Jeopardy, and I'm in the 3rd round. I think I'm playing against Anti-Trekker, and then the winner of each of the 3 rounds battle each other at the end. And yesterday on the Junkman channel, I did win the Star Wars Jeopardy over there, being the only Star Trek guy, which was funny. But anyway, so hopefully I can maintain my status and kick some butt tonight. So if you know who Vile Mike is, even if you don't, just type in Vile Mike on YouTube and go check it out, and show some Trekyards love for the captain.
Brilliant.
Sergeant Montgomery, $2. Sean Corpier, $2.
Yeah.
Death Star shot snipe. That'll destroy the planet. And this stream. Bye, guys.
Bye.